All right, welcome to episode 2. We're going to be talking about the Idaho 4 case and some things that really bother me about it. Each of these episodes is going to be 666 seconds or less. That's 11 minutes and 6 seconds. So I got to get started and I'm going to share this with you. A little slide that I've got here to discuss. All right, here we go. All right, so we don't normally talk about current cases on Murder Metal Mayhem, so I'm looking forward to talking about this one with you. This is a very big case. Obviously, people know all about it. Dylan and Bethany, though, are the two known survivors from the event that happened on November 13th, 2022. So just passing the 1 year mark there in Moscow, Idaho. Now, originally, the time of death was between 3 and 4 a.m., and that's coming from the coroner. But things change a little bit because Dylan was apparently talking with police, and she says, now her room was on the second floor, directly below the third floor room where two of the victims were attacked, and then the other two victims were on the same floor as her, the second floor, but on the other side of the hallway. So both scenes were very close to where she was located. And she says that after 3 times opening the door over the course of, the minutes she was in her room, she finally sees a person in black in the hallway. And so she says that she goes into a frozen shock phase. And this would then be her explanation for why it took them 8 hours to call 911. So if she's saying she saw him just after 4 o'clock, the police say that Brian was driving around the neighborhood, and then just after 4, he could have potentially done this and then been out of the neighborhood at 4:20. So this is a really short window of time. Another thing to add just a strange texture to this is the 4 a.m. DoorDash order that apparently Xana had made. She was one of the victims, to be delivered at 4 o'clock, but a non-contact, so just left there for her. Makes you wonder, did she really order it? Or did somebody do it with her phone to make it look like she would have been alive at 4 o'clock? We don't know. So now the timeline is shifting from the 3 to 4 a.m. that the coroner said to now 4:05:06 to about 4:20 when the police say the vehicle left the neighborhood. So, could somebody have been in this frozen shock phase for that many hours? I mean, people react differently to incredible stress, and I can't imagine going through something like this myself, but it just seems very unbelievable. Now, Bethany, she was the other survivor. She was on the first floor, and so she said she didn't hear anything. So, but then I also heard that she has some potential exculpatory evidence, which would help the defendant. So, don't know exactly what that is. Nobody said anything more about that. So, really curious. Maybe she saw something. I don't know. She must have if she's got some exculpatory evidence. And also former tenants of this place, because, this is a college apartment rental type situation. Lots of former roommates saying how easy it would be to hear from one room to the other. So this would have been very loud in this house. I can't imagine that Dylan on the second floor would not have heard both of those, the third floor as well as the second floor murders. So if Dylan was in a shock phase, it makes you wonder, can we even really believe her story? And you think about how long 8 hours is. I mean, and if you bump the time up to 3 to 4, like the coroner believed, then that's 9 hours, and it seems crazy. You think about a full shift at work or a super long day at school, 8 hours waiting that long just doesn't seem to be believable to me and a lot of other people. Some have said that the students around the campus had been talking about this murder or these murders the next morning before the 911 call was made. So that definitely makes me wonder, how did that word get out? Who were these people that were at the apartment? Because there were people there, their friends were called to the scene before 911 was called, just before noon. Oddly, on Dylan's phone, but from a friend of hers, not her herself. Very, very strange. And what was the deal with the footprint found outside Dylan's bedroom with a Vans shoe? And she wore Vans, with a Vans shoe that was cleaned up. So, like a bloody print that was cleaned up outside her room. Why was it cleaned up? Who cleaned it up? Did she call friends over that morning to help her clean up? And if so, why was she cleaning up? Just so many questions that are unanswered because we really just don't know. Have absolutely no idea. But it is very suspicious that this print was cleaned up. Why? Just so many questions that come to my mind. So to kind of wrap this thing up, I mean, with the gag order in place, that's where a lot of these rumors are coming from. And, I try my best to sift through it, but it's tough with a case like this. I hope the cops got their phone data so that they can figure out, because there's rumors that they were texting each other while this was all going on, which is just insane. So if that's true, hopefully that'll come out when this finally gets to trial. Some people have questions whether it was one person or more than one person. I kind of lean toward more than one person, but I don't know. Common sense, though, makes you question about these two survivors, and are their stories credible? And do they really not know anything? Did they provide some information to whoever did this? We just don't know. I truly hope that that's not the case. I hope that Dylan and Bethany were not involved at all. And hopefully they get to whoever did this and prove that they did, so everybody can put this story to bed. Thanks for checking out this episode of 666 Seconds of Murder. You can check me out on the Murder Metal Mayhem podcast. We post episodes every Thursday, and you can listen on most all podcast platforms, or you can go to murdermetalmayhem.com, listen there, buy some merch, and learn more about what we do. All right. Well, I'll see you next time.